I'm going to try to save this pressure washer. Sometimes I'll take the engine off and turn it into a lawnmower if I've got a deck. And those lawnmowers run extremely well when I do that. I'm always impressed with that. But in this case, and usually I get pressure washers that I convert into lawnmowers because the pump is bad. People leave them out over the winter and they freeze, or they leave them in a cold shed and they freeze with water in them and they break the pump. And then they're not willing to repair the pump, and they just sell the pressure washer and say the pump is broken. And sometimes you can get them for a song. This one I got as a group purchase of mowers and pressure washers and all kinds of stuff for not very much. And one of them I did turn into, there were two pressure washers, and I did turn that one into a mower, and it runs great. But this one, the pump is okay. So clearly there's an issue with the engine, which I wanted to show you. This is a what's called a Pulsajet Briggs and Stratton engine. It is a Troybilt product, but it's made by the Briggs and Stratton, let me show you right here, Briggs and Stratton Power Products Group in Jefferson, Wisconsin, which is where Briggs is located. But clearly this thing has an issue because that is not standard equipment. That big screen door spring, or whatever the heck that is, has been run from this little piece here, which is sort of a place to rest the pressure wand. And they run this spring from there up to the throttle and got this thing just locked down. So we're going to try and get this engine running, and if I get the engine running, I should have a running pressure washer. So let's see what happens here. So let's start taking this thing apart and get this crazy spring off of here, because that's not going to work. That is not good equipment there. All right, so I've already checked the oil, and the oil is fine. It's good. The color's not bad. It's at a good level. I've not pulled the cord, but I'm thinking it might be okay. But before I can do anything, I want to get this crazy stuff off of here. So let me get my gloves on and a flathead screwdriver and get this. I'm going to take the air filter cover off first. And see what's under here and what's left of the original linkage. I see a lot of leaves up in there. You could have a mouse nest going on. If you leave old equipment around, sometimes that'll happen, but I think it's just debris. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take this crazy spring off. It might be easier if I move my camera over here. Let me try that. See what that looks like. Yeah, I think that's a little better. So I see some weird stuff. The carburetor's clean. This primer bulb here, I call it the pink test. See the pink on my finger? That means it's worn out. And it's just falling apart. So that's going to have to be replaced. So I'm going to try to get this off without having this thing pop me in the eye. So I'm going to push it down like that. And now I'm going to get this spring out of here. Weird what people do. It's just weird what people do, thinking that they're going to make things work. This is the throttle, and the way this mower shuts off with pressure washers, instead of a kill switch and an engine brake over here or in the back, it's right here. And so when you move this over here, it kills the engine. There is a, let me show you where it is. There's an electrical contact that you're not going to see on most mowers. But you see that little piece of metal sticking up right there, right there? I'm pointing at it with the screwdriver. Bup, 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 bup. Okay, that is what kills the engine. When you move this over, it touches and kills the engine because it touches metal. It's the kill wire. That's the kill wire that runs over to the coil. So there you go. That's how you stop this engine once it's running. So let's get this. Let's get this cover off. This rewinder cover off, and get all this off because this has got to be replaced. There's no way that's ever going to work. So let's begin. Now this has the dipstick type that has two screws that holds it in. You can't see those back here, but they're a quarter head screw. So I'm with my 1/4 inch socket and unscrew that. And then there's a 3/8 here, a 3/8 here, 3/8 on the other side. Those have got to come out to get the rewinder off because I want to get all that trash out of there, and it'll make it easier to remove this tank and carburetor and everything. It's super hot today here. We're in the middle of this heat wave in June of 2025. There's all kinds of warnings out and all that. I'm in my garage. It's probably 90 degrees in here. Let me go over and look at the temperature gauge. It's worse than I thought. It's 93 degrees in here. No wonder I'm moving so slow. All right, so I got my 1/4 inch socket on. I'm going to tell you, take out these two little screws that hold the dipstick to the rewinder. Set those over here in a magnetic dish. Got those out of there. I'm going to use my ratchet wrench to get this cover off, clean around there and start removing things. Oh man, that's on there. There we go. Oops, that's my socket. That one started. And there's this third one here. And then this will come off. I'm going to use my electric drill now to speed up the removal of these 3 screws. 1, 2. And 3. Set those in the magnetic dish. All right. See if any mice come running out of here. Wow, that's pretty clean. Don't see any critters living up in there. Now you'll notice, since this is a pressure washer, That's a very heavy flywheel, and that's because it doesn't have a blade to counterbalance it, so they have to put on a heavier flywheel. The coil looks good. That all looks pretty good. Let me get that trash out of there now. I expected these throttle springs to be missing since he hung his screen door spring on there. I'm not sure what he was trying to accomplish with that, but yeah, all this stuff is here. I'm impressed. I'll be darned. I'm just gonna get a brush and try and brush some of this stuff away. Some of it I can't brush out because it's all tangled in with the throttle springs and all that, but this is actually working the way it's supposed to. Amazing. All right, I'm going to take a look in the tank and see if there's any fuel, and if there is, how old it is. Started at least. Oh man, there's some fuel in there the color of dark beer. So it's going to be ancient. And again, we're going to take this tank off now. So 3/8 here, 1/2 inch straight in there. I might be able to just get this off with the drill. Half inch socket on here. Okay. Now, I'll be able to start wiggling and remove this tank. So I'm going to wiggle it back and forth, kind of gently, not forcefully, and wiggle, and the whole time I'm sort of pulling it towards me. So I'm moving it around, kind of gently pulling it towards me. What often causes them to hang up is this little boot here on this grommet. So that popped off pretty easy, so I've got it turned up facing towards me. So wiggling, and pulling gently. There we go. Okay, now I can turn this and then push it down to get it over that little L hook on that carburetor linkage. And the little round rubbery gasket that makes the air seal between this carburetor and the manifold is still on there. Let me show you that. That often happens. See the little rubber gasket? I'm going to pull that off with my thumb and forefinger. And then the clip that holds it in place slides off as well. So I'm going to set that over in the dish with all the little screws that came off. And I'm going to touch this manifold and try to move it, and it's locked in. Okay, that's good. If this moves around or wiggles too much, you can get an air leak. Your mower's not going to run right, and you have to tighten that screw and that screw. But this one is nice and secure. And again, this is how you turn it off. See, the kill wire, instead of being to the brake in the back, goes up straight up there, boop, to the coil. So that's how you turn your mower off. Excuse me, pressure washer in this case. All right, so let me set the phone down. We made such good progress. So when you come back, I'm gonna have either this tank and carburetor or another tank and carburetor that I've got in my collection of equipment for pulse jets. I've got some tanks and carburetors sitting in a box over there, and as a unit, it's the tank and the carburetor. And I'll put that on there and pull the cord. We're going to see if this whole thing's going to run once I get some water going to it and put a pressure washer hose on it and a pressure washer gun, a pressure washer wand, whatever you want to say it. But we're making good progress on this. So when you tune back in, I'll have some updates.